Someone kill me! Oh god, this song! Ah! No! No! Stop making me watch this! We're recording!
We're recording right now?
Yes, we're recording!
Oh.
Ah! No! Oh, that was painful.
Oh wait, so you
I wasn't sure if I wanted to record or not, and like I said we were going to record what True Fear is, and I couldn't decide because Sam was deciding on whether she wanted to leave or not, and I was like, damn, well, we don't have to record, and she's like, make a decision, and I was like, I don't know, and she's like, fine, I'm going to make you watch this until you make a decision, and then it's like, oh god, it's so terrible, ah!
Let's do this.
So we're going to make this as painful as possible for secondary characters to make her suffer for making me suffer. Isn't that right?
Just read.
So anyway, this is a one-shot by secondary character, What True Fear Is.
How do you know it's a one-shot?
It was in your gallery for one-shots.
Oh.
Unless you're saying it's not a one-shot.
Oh, it had a continuation to it. That's not important. Read.
Reading. What True Fear Is. Megatron didn't remember much.
You have to read it like that.
He'd been forced into recharge by a forceful shock to the back of his helmet. He had a very good idea on whom the dead slagger was that chained him up in this little white cell. Starscream had a knack for insanely stupid ideas when it came to his attempts to offline his once leader. Megatron shut his optics off for a moment and let air cycle through his vents in a deep sigh of annoyance. The chains holding him were the same design as stasis cuffs, and were made of the same material. There was little to no chance he would be able to free himself from them. He attempted anyway, and pulled in vain at the tight cuffs biting into his sensitive wrist wires. With another loud sigh, he stopped and brought his optics online once again, only to find Starscream smirking at him from the door. Having fun, oh great leader? He asked maliciously. I am growing tired of these games, Starscream. Release me, and I will make your death quick and painless. Megatron snarled. You don't give the orders here, Megatron. I do, and I'm going to make you cry, Megatron. I'm going to make you break. Wow, you're just killing the mood all over the place, aren't you?
Sorry. It went down the wrong pipe. Oh god, don't do that, it hurts. Oh, that hurts. Oh, that hurts.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that hurts.
Megatron let out a deep chuckle. Is that so? You and what army? It would take a lot to break me, and you have suggested, as you have suggested, Starscream, and I have been through every kind of pain imaginable. So, tell me, how are you intent to break me? As if your egotistical nature won't force you to tell me anyway. Starscream didn't say a word. He just smirked and stared at Megatron, much the way a cat looks at its next meal. He walked over to the wall, where a small dial was placed to turn off the lights. He could feel the deep glare of the silver tyrant at his back. Starscream's smirk only got bigger as he reached his destination, and stroked his hands lightly over the dial. Do you ever know that Shockwave has a terrible drinker? He really can't hold his energon very well, especially not high-grade, laced with truth serum, Starscream purred. Really? So tell me, why are you trying to poison my intelligence officer? Megatron snapped, trying to sound vicious as the spark began to speed up. Well, he told me something very, very interesting. His fingers lightly toyed with the dial and turned to a dimmer setting. He told me that you, the mighty and invincible Megatron are scared of the dark. Really? 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 With that last statement, Starscream turned the dial and blanketed the room in complete darkness. Megatron could feel his spark pulsing with fear as energon raced through his veins, mixed with coolant, trying to calm him down. The darkness was all around him, but he loves dark energon. And all he could do was try to cycle air fast enough to cool down his overheating processor. His entire frame began to shake as of its own free will, as memories threatened to push themselves on him, and he felt hands on his shoulder. Well, look at this. The mighty Lord is trembling. Starscream hissed into Megatron's oddities.
Shut up!
What's wrong, Megatron? Do you remember them? Your friends you left to die, the mates who called out your name as the rocks crushed them. Do you feel how pathetically useless and scared you were? Megatron struggled against the chains as shrieks filled his processor, yelling his name out through the infinite darkness as he felt the rocks shaking, falling around him, much like he had all those stellar cycles ago. He could feel his spark tighten as cycling air became harder to do. His processor was fogged, and memories he'd long repressed. He struggled again, trying to find a way back into the light, back to where the screams couldn't find him. It was a foolish thing, as he only felt the cold bite of the cuffs at his wrist joints as he pulled. Starscream cackled and clapped his hands in glee. But seeing his prey struggling alone was not enough. He wanted to break Megatron enough his pieces could thread the eye of a
Thread.
It was threat, the eye of a needle.
This is why I didn't want to read this.
You weren't always so strong, so fierce, were you, Megatron? No, of course you weren't. Because if you had been stronger, you could have stopped the rocks from falling on your mates. Starscream hissed darkly at the terrified warlord. Megatron offline his optics, trying desperately not to listen to the harsh words of his former second in command, but it only made his memories worse. He could see them, his old friends, the ones he would depend on to keep him safe back in those mines. They were there for him when he needed them. From his first day he was forced down into the cramped tunnels. They had always made sure he was safe, being the youngest of them. Then there was him, Megatron's mate, a mech who had been hired with the small amount of slaves working the mines, had not been enough to reach a massive deposit of energon. He was the Silver Tyrant's last ray of hope in a world
Last ray of light.
A light in a perpetual world of darkness. It was all your fault, Megatron. It was your fault he died. Megatron shook harder, and tears threatened to fall from his optics. It had been his fault. He was angry because the foreman would not let him take a break, so he wanted to prove to his friends he was stronger than them and didn't need one. His mate had wanted to cover for him and let him rest for a while, but Megatron had been arrogant and selfish, claiming he was strong enough to do it without help. He dug too far into a bed of soft rock and screwed over his entire crew. The tunnels began to tremble, and everyone headed for the exit. Everyone except Megatron and his mate. His friends had come back into the tunnels to help get him out, but he condemned them all. To frighten the move, he froze in one place and watched in horror as rocks fell between him and his mate as he screamed out his name, pleading for him. It hadn't been dark then, but with his one low-powered lantern, the tight walls of rock were his prison, his tomb. He dared not to give up, though, and began to dig through the pile of rubble under which his mate had vanished. It was here he gave up hope, finding the servo of his lover still reaching out to him as he as though begging him to come. Megatron had cried then, and held the gun-metal gray servo until the light of his lantern had got out. All hope was gone, and in the dark he knew he would die. Alone and spot-broken, he just cried. There was nothing else for him to do. No one was going to rescue a slave like him. Starscream smirked more, watching Megatron through his night vision mod optics. He was very pleased with the result. The silver demon was crying and muttering under his breath apologies to his long-forsaken mate. Starscream cupped one clawed digit and brought Megatron's head up to have a proper look at his visage. Megatron unlined his crimson optics, looking at Starscream with dull eyes, the eyes of a broken man. Look at you, Megatron. Pathetic, worthless, and best of all. Starscream released his chin and turned away from him. You're broken like the pleasure drone spawn you are. But you know what would make me let go of you? If you begged, and called me master for once. Megatron muttered something, and Starscream turned to look at him once more. Didn't quite catch that. Speak louder, slave.
Spade?
Spade.
Spade?
Speak louder, Spade. Shovel. Starscream.
Shut up, Shovel. This is not concerned you.
Uh-oh. I dropped my soda.
Oops.
Ah, well. Nom 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 nom. Starscream made sure to carry every syllable of the word slave, tormenting Megatron further. Please, Master, let me go. Megatron whispered, finally admitting defeat to his dark and tortured past. He would do anything to just be in the light once more. Well, since you said please. The door suddenly bursted open with a loud boom, and light poured into the small cell. Megatron snapped his head up to look into the light as a dark, lumbering figure walked in. The figure's cannons were raised and directed at Starscream. I don't know what Lugnut sounds like.
Again. I don't know.
You will release Lord Megatron now! Attention, duelists! You will release Lord Megatron now.
Good enough.
Lugnut the man. I don't know what he sounds like. What does he sound like?
I don't really know. There's no way to describe it. Just go with it.
Ah, whatever. Yes, I was just about to do that. Starscream assured him as his true cowardly nature resurfaced. He quickly pressed a button, and the chains released their vice like grips. Megatron fell forward, and one of Lugnut's large servos caught him easily. You have betrayed our glorious leader for the last time, you incompetent little worm. I will smite you where you... Lugnut, just get me home. Or Megatron ordered, cutting off his devoted subordinate. Yes, sir, right away. Lugnut retracted his cannon and carried Megatron bridal style out of the cell and away from the sick and twisted coward of the Seeker. Megatron let his optics go offline once more, and relished the light around him as though it was the Primus's own blessing upon his black and cold spark. Tears still threatened to spill from him as Lugnut made quick work of them getting home, but he did not let it show how much pain his spark was in. When they returned, Megatron ordered for no one to disturb him at all as he relaxed in his room. Lugnut faithfully told him he would see to it personally and guarded his door like a loyal watchdog. Megatron reclined on his bed, suppressing the memories as best he could, but the eyes of his lovers haunted him. Those beautiful blue eyes that almost seemed to reflect the spark of all sparks. Megatron would just let go, sobbing quietly to himself. Kingdom Hearts!
Wow, right? I've ruined the mood.
Orion, I'm so sorry. Really?
What?
Orion Pax.
Yeah.
Sigh. Sorry, it said the spark of all sparks, and I was like the heart of all hearts. Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom
Kingdom
Hearts!
Hearts! That's all I can think of. I'm sorry.
It makes me want to go back and read all my other ones too.
Well,
It actually wasn't that bad.
there were spelling mistakes everywhere. I was very disappointed.
Thoughts, comments?
Well, that was definitely interesting. A good shift from the general typical sexy time. Sexy, 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 sexy. Sexy time. Sexy time.
We should read another fanfic.
No.
Yes.
No.
Because I just thought of one that would be really good to read.
No. No more. No, I'm done. No.
Then I'll read it.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
I'm going to start reading.
No.
Yes.
No.
Starscream was filthy. Maybe it wasn't obvious to someone else, but he knew it.